thing that stays with me that my father says, मंजिलें क्या हैं, रास्ता क्या है, हौसला हो तो फासला क्या है. Hi everyone, thank you for being here. Can you hear me on loud and clear? All right. So, as she introduced me, my current focus, one is on Hilfey Tech, where I'm the co-founder and CEO, and secondly, I also coach at Health with Nitin Dua. My focus right now, work-wise, is on two primary things. One is growth of people and growth of organizations, which is again built by people, with a focus on health and technology. Before we get started, I want to first give my gratitude to all of you and also to Shiv Nadar Foundation, the Shiv Nadar School, Mr. Shiv Nadar himself, Mrs. Shiv Nadar, Roshni ma'am, Shiv sir, Monica ma'am, Sameer sir, I know can't be here today, and Tanushri ma'am and her team, to all the parents and to all the students, my parent, my wife who's here, to all of you. Thank you. And one thing I must say about Shiv Nadar School and Shiv Nadar Foundation in general, I've had multiple interactions now over the last several years, and every interaction has definitely moved. So I want to congratulate you for creating such an institution and growing your people along the way. Now, I'll start first by asking you, have you meditated before? How about meditating right now? We'll experience something for the next 1 minute. Thank you for this opportunity and thank you for doing this with me for the last 1 minute. Alright, how did I feel? Alright, I'm getting some good nods. Felt good? Fantastic. Now, coming back to the main topic of today, my journey. I will speak about my journey and maybe use 3 concrete stories, concrete segments to break it down, because there are many things I can talk about my journey, but I'll focus on 3 for today. The first one being my journey of evolution. Alright, so now let's meet this young boy. This boy is like many of you who's born limitless. Like each one of you. You can see the sparkly eyes, the joy. He's raised in a small town by the name Cofounder in North India. He's instilled with wonderful values through his parents, through his family, through his surroundings, with a strong focus on sanskar and also education. And education, like Shiv Nadar School also says, education not just for studies but for life. As you can see, he's dressed up right there in a school uniform, like any of you. So, for the context of today's talk, I chose the journey parts which are more contextual to the audience. And in terms of education, he went on through the schooling process, like many of you are going through, eventually getting into the kind of grades that you are in, 11th, 12th, preparing for competitive exams in India. Back then, IIT JEE for engineering was, and still today remains, one of the most competitive exams, at least for engineering discipline. So he went through the preparation of that for a couple of years in 11th and 12th, and gave a lot of time, a lot of energy to that process of preparing for the exams. But one day, despite a lot of preparation, when the exams were done and it came time for the results, he didn't find his name going up and down. It used to be on paper as well as now it came down on the internet, but he couldn't find his roll number on the list. And it really crushed him in that moment in terms of his emotions. Not only him, but also his family, like his mother, his father, And because they had seen a lot of effort going in, and he was doing pretty well even in the mock exams and other things. But on the day of the exam, the results revealed something else. And yes, in that moment, it was very excruciating pain of going through that journey, failing at that time. But what if this turned out to be something more wonderful? What if it was a gift? And we'll cover that in subsequent slides. But one thing that stays with me that my father says, मंजिलें क्या हैं, रास्ता क्या है, हौसला हो तो फासला क्या है. This हौसले बहुत लंबे फासले तक लेकर गए. And as you can see here, some of you might recognize, he eventually ended up taking even further, bigger dreams, and at one point landed up at Stanford for his graduate degree. Now, what happens there, is a different story. I'll cover that in subsequent slides, and the process of getting in. But one thing that I want to emphasize, right, it might look like failure in that moment. Yes, you learn a lot from it. In fact, there's this graph that you see here, how much you learn. And this designer depicts, you learn a lot from theory, which is on that bar right there. You learn more than that by doing the act. But then where you learn really from is from mistakes or failures. And I'll top it up by saying what even Ray Dalio, one of the biggest investors of our times worldwide, Ray Dalio, he's also saying similar lines. Failure with the reflection is equal to progress. Now, we looked into failure and progress in this context. If I take the example of Stanford, I'll walk you through this journey of the process. But the process is, can I be in this process of first visualizing an end in mind? What do I want to get to? Whatever that is. And I'll use the example of Stanford to contextualize for this audience. Staying curious, staying hungry, experimenting. Can I be in the process of experimentation, of reinventing myself? Can I do my best efforts? Can I do the best action that's possible in that moment? Can I stay hungry for the learning, perpetually for life? And there is this thing that we just did. Can I also meditate and stay with the process of that? So taking the example of Stanford that many of you wanted to get information on further, the visualization after that failure of not clearing the exam in that moment and going through that pain and suffering, visualizing and dreaming what could be bigger potentially than this, or what is more in line with where I want to grow. And in that moment, it was more about even opening up myself to further depths of education, learning from not just the best in India, but potentially the best in the world, and going in that direction to find that. So that was like a visualization in mind, not necessarily like Stanford per se in the mind, but the act of visualizing something even more grander, even more wider, because I believe is what the target or the visualization mind was back then. Staying curious to find out how that can be achieved, and figuring out by virtue of talking to more people, doing more searches, figuring out what is the main potential that can be there. And experimenting in that case, the case of Stanford, I actually ended up cold reaching out to a lot of professors, even before landing there. Asking professors, not just at Stanford, but before that I was already mentioned, I was a Cardiff, even reached out to a lot of folks in Europe to find out opportunities to grow, to do research. And some of them took a chance on me. And when you get that chance, what do you do with that chance? Right? I remember now, as I speak of this, Shah Rukh Khan says once, I've heard him say, काम लेने के लिए बहुत लोग मेहनत करते हैं, but काम मिलने के बाद मेहनत करना जो करता है, वो अलग ही लेवल पर जाने की पोटेंशियल रखता है. So once you get that, first you take the chances. Once you get that, can you do your best efforts and best action there? That is in your control. The outcome may not be in your control, but effort is. Can you stay hungry throughout? Can you stay hungry for the learning for life perpetually? And the effort that I did there was when I was passed the exam, I got into NSIT, which is NSUT now, part of the university. You know, can you do your best there, doing well in the academics, doing well with what you have, the resources that you've got? Can you do really well at that point? Can you research what's available? Can you reach out to more people, which is what I ended up doing, and getting a lot of these research opportunities in Europe and UK, and then later on at Stanford as well. Then, of course, as you do good work, people do take notice. Recommendations of people do matter, and there's a big element of luck as well in the timing as well. Right? So all of this plays a big role, and you know, narrating your story, why you were meant to be in that place, what will you add value to that place, why should they consider you, which is part of the whole SOP process. I can answer that in questions if you have any questions there. But you get the idea, right? You use the failure, embrace the challenge, and then move on. And can you be in this process to continue? And this journey has not stopped. This is just an example as we start today with the student life that we're living, a lot of you. And the student life, by the way, continues. But student life in a school setup or a college setup goes on to become an engineer, takes on the researcher role later on, product manager, and later on managing consultant, to taking on business roles, become a leader there, to eventually getting into entrepreneurship, being a creator, a coach, all in health and tech. So the bigger white canvas has been health and tech, but I've constantly reinvented myself, you know, in multiple kinds of roles and evolve in the process in this journey. And some of these companies that some of you might recognize, 4500 PwC, other big companies like Waster, which has gone to 100 million revenue, Hilfey Tech is the company that I started, and then the whole creation and coaching efforts to help the people work there, which is a relatively new journey, but we're on that. And the feeling, the reflection, the progress continues. All these things that I said as a student still stay true to me each day. I follow pretty much everything even today and more. Now, the truth, and as I said, I talk a lot about growth. The truth about growth is that it's not linear. It doesn't look like a complete straight line. You see the progress you can see on the left, but you also see the knots, the convolution. You go up, you come down, you move around, and you keep sometimes in chaos, but you figure through the chaos and keep moving and progressing. So the growth looks more like that as opposed to a straight line or an exponential curve for most people and most things. And now I'm reminded also by the famous quote of Steve Jobs at the commencement, and he said in his very famous speech, stay hungry and stay foolish. So I'll move on now to the second part of the talk, the journey of perspectives. I welcome hearing from all of you on your comments, on your suggestions, on your feedback, and let me know what else you want to hear more on. If you found value on our channel Health with Nitin Dua through any of our videos, including this one, do consider sharing, subscribing. Until I see you in the next video, this is Nitin Dua, serving you with love.